Hi, my name is Ananya, and today I'll be presenting my capstone, Give Me Life, a Selection of Wishes. So this project is a collection of visualized experiences from people who've experienced trauma or loss displayed through a whimsical lens. The project incorporates AI technology, augmented reality, and digital design to produce a comprehensive coffee table book. So, if you had a year to live, where would you go? Who would you be? What would your death row meal be? These questions generally lighthearted conversations, but what if they were your actual reality? This past January, that reality took my family by storm. My mom was given a year to live. Rather than falling to shambles, together laughter filled our house as we comically created endless possibilities for the future. We basked in the absurdity and occasionally confronted its severity. There was eventually a clear path to recovery, so instead we began to wonder what she would do with her second life. My mom had always instilled in me the importance of resilience, ensuring that sadness never loomed too long in my home. So, just like my mom, I took this crisis on head on. Going back a bit, my entrance into young adulthood and college was less successful in carrying the same headstrong energy I had grown up with due to other circumstances. But it was the relationships I had formed around me, the friendships, that reinforced my backbone. Unknowingly, I had surrounded myself with the most resilient people I had ever met, all characters in their own right, all personalities who had fought to exist as they are now. The beautiful people, experiences, friends, and family around me have all helped me endure my own difficulties by simply allowing me to observe them as they experience theirs. I wanted to explore how I could playfully capture this lived experience without being too journalistic or trauma dumpy for other people to similarly benefit and reflect. So I created a 5-step process to produce the collection. The first step was to design the interview. I wrote around 40 playful, whimsical, theoretical, and self-reflective questions to ask my interviewees. The ones on the screen here produced the most engagement and thoughtful answers, and some of my favorite ones are: what color palette do you view your life in now? What are 1 to 3 tangible or intangible things that cause you great happiness? If you were to quantify it, how much space do you feel you take up in the world? Inspired by my mom's health crisis, I also deliberately crafted questions centered around caretaking and being taken care of. Each interview lasted around 40 to 80 minutes, and there were 4 total interviewees. These are the 4 people I chose to center this concept on. Based on the inspiration, choosing my close friends who I had directly been inspired by seemed like a great starting point for the scope of this project. Everyone here has a similar young adult age range, and they've all endured calamity, loss, or trauma in some way. Like I said, I didn't want this project to go in a trauma dump direction, so it was important to me to understand my role both as an interviewer and a friend, making sure that understanding that I knew these people would give me direction for the interviews, but know that I still had a lot to learn. So I really like calling these conversations rather than interviews because of how educational and heartfelt they were. And after our conversations, some participants voiced that they continued to introspect on their answers since they revealed truths about themselves they hadn't even realized existed, which is honestly the best part of this project and all I can ask for. The images on the screen are a glimpse from the photo shoot that we did showcasing the participants with one of their tangible objects, and I really love how it encapsulates the personality-driven aspect of this project. So choosing the tech was the next step. I was really adamant in ensuring that my tech choice was necessary and not immersive for the sake of being immersive. The questions that were based on hopes and wishes didn't exist in their lives right now, so I thought that AI and AR would aid to this project perfectly. AI would help me generate visual interpretations of their answers that were especially about how they envisioned their lives. And many of their answers were intangible or futuristic, so I chose to incorporate AR to literally augment my participants' realities, adding their wishes to their current realities. So the first step was to generate the images. I used Midjourney to develop visualizations, and the prompts were derived from the transcribed interviews. And because of how imaginative the interview questions were, many of the answers were inherently visual, describing environments and colors and also feelings that helped develop the prompts. After I generated a lot of images and played with prompts, I took a select few of them and created an iterative process of feedback where I presented select images to the participants and incorporated their feedback to improve their visualizations because it is their lives. So the next aspect were the portraits. I really wanted to include non-generated images since the project is so inherently raw and human, and just keeping it in the scope of AI would take that aspect away. These are a few of my favorite images from the photo shoots. They capture a very childish, playful quality, and I gave everyone prompts to emulate. Sometimes there were emotions. The specific one was to shake their heads and let out anything they were feeling. All these images were edited using Lightroom. So the next step was to take the mid-journey images and create layers using Photoshop to begin the AR development process. I also wanted to make sure that the physical book showcased blurred versions of the final pop-ups, so I made those using Procreate and Midjourney, so to give some visual distinction of what was in the AR world. This was a long process between Midjourney, Photoshop, Procreate, Lightroom, and eventually Adobe Aero. These are some screenshots for some of the ones I made in the preview of Aero. And here's a short video of what it looks like when attached to the anchor image created. I just had to use my computer for this. So the last step was to put it all together in a layout design using InDesign. I wrote a preface interspersed around 30 pages of portraits and generated images and took blurbs from the interviews to give my reader some context. And I also included the complete list of questions so viewers can participate in this journey themselves. This is the cover of the book I made using InDesign, and it's a pretty large coffee table book, around 11 by 9 or 11 by 11. So I'm going to go through some of the pages, definitely not all of them. Just to give a preview, I included AR instructions here so the reader can see. And every participant has a dedicated spread to their head-shaking images to kind of create a very animated feel. And then following that are some of their generated images, some of their text, and if there's a red dot, it indicates a scannable image. So here's some more preview. This one I particularly loved. It was taken from the color palette question. The background is how she feels now. The small column is how her childhood felt to her, and the larger one is how she envisions it to be in the future and what she wants for herself. And so, likewise, the last two participants also got their own spreads. So, evaluations and next steps. For the spring show, this will be seen in more of a gallery format where people can parse through the actual coffee table book and engage with it without having to engage with AR, but if they do want to, it'll be there as well, and I will blow up the images and include AR audio as well of the interviews. But I really see for the future a Humans of New York-esque type of continuation, and I was really intrigued of the idea of expanding the interviews to people I don't know to see how that exchange would change based on the fact that I really had no background on them. In terms of the audience, at first it's an art book for myself and for the people documented in it, but mostly it's an explorative product for others. I really do see that this coffee table could be given to anybody to be kind of an introspective experience, and also the images are quite beautiful to look at. The biggest takeaway I would say from this project is that we can learn from ordinary people. It doesn't matter that these people are my close friends or you don't know them. They all have something to share, and the way we all experience life is worth understanding. And the biggest part of this project that I think really is impactful is that it's a culmination of my personal last 4 years, closing this chapter and going on to the next. So thank you so much, especially to my professors Rashida and Ellen, who helped me put this project together, and Prisha, Emily, Lily, and Stella, who are showcased in this project, and my friends and family for supporting me. Thank you.